Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time for another movie review. This time I'm going to be doing the horror film Tony from 2009, and here's the cover, and here is the back cover. And this is a film that was actually recommended via a review by Film Game Junkies a couple of weeks ago, and I was kind of intrigued by their review, so I figured I would go ahead and pick it up, and so I got it on eBay. I think I paid like $7 for it. And this is a movie that will do one of two things. It's either really going to piss you off if you're a horror fan expecting the same old, or it's going to play around with your expectations of the horror genre a little bit. And I think I fell into the latter category. This is a film that was made in 2009. It was written and directed by Gerard Johnson. It stars Peter Ferdinando as Tony, the title character. And basically Tony is a serial killer. The actual subtitle of this is, or the full title is, Tony London Serial Killer. So I'm hardly giving anything away. But the film simply documents what Tony does on his day-to-day basis, living this really bleak existence in his apartment in London. Tony does not seem to have any friends whatsoever. He does not seem to have any normal, quote-unquote, normal life. He has been unemployed for decades, does not have any interest in getting a job, and I don't know a whole lot about the British unemployment system, but apparently you can be unemployed for that long a period of time if you are unemployable, and this guy is the definition of unemployable. Although the employment office does threaten him with a removal of his benefits, so he does go out and attempt to get a job. And the job interview that he has is extremely frustrating, not only for him, but for the guy who's trying to interview him for what looks to be a really shitty job anyway. But in the midst of all this, of course, he is a serial killer, and he preys on people he will pick up in bars, people who will visit him at his apartment. He just takes advantage of whatever opportunities come his way to satisfy what appears to be this uncontrollable need to kill people. The script doesn't really explain that. You don't get a whole lot of backstory or exposition on this character at all. And when the movie's over, you really don't know that much more about him other than, that he's been unemployed for a while and likes to kill people. Be that as it may, this is a film that is somewhat refreshing for the horror genre because it does mess with your idea of what to expect in a horror film. It has received some critical acclaim for being that way, for being something unexpected and fresh and new, and I can see why that is. But I'd also like to say that this is a film that would probably, and is probably, going to piss a lot of people off. Piss a lot of people off who are expecting the same old when they pop a horror DVD into their player and expect to get the usual jump scares and, gore and all that type of stuff. This movie does not promise it. It does not deliver that. But it still delivers a scary experience in the fact that somebody like Tony could be living next door to you, downstairs, down the hall, in the next lot over, the next block over, the next street over, whatever. And I think that is what is scary about this, because the character is so well portrayed, he's so realistic, that the film, while it doesn't try to, in any way, shape, or form, try to be a documentary, it almost could be, because the performance is so realistic. And that's the real scary part of this film. So this is a movie that I find difficult to review because I liked it and I enjoyed it, but it's hard for me to recommend because I know this is a movie that's going to really anger some people when the credits roll. It's only 73 minutes long, so some people may be expecting a twist at the end that will kind of answer for all the lack of action that goes through the whole thing. Like at the end, you're going to find out something that's going to be an aha moment, and it never arrives. And I'm really not spoiling anything. So if I had to rate Tony, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It is something different. I enjoyed it. It definitely delivered something that I haven't seen delivered this way in the horror genre. It does say on the back that the movie has been compared to movies like Taxi Driver and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Of course, I've seen both of those movies, Taxi Driver much more recently than Henry. And I could say that, yes, I would draw those same type of comparisons. But I won't go out on a limb and say that this movie is better than either one of those. It's definitely not better than Taxi Driver. It's very similar to Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, but it's been so long since I've seen that, it would be unfair for me to make a comparison on which one is better. But this is definitely, if you liked Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, you'll probably enjoy this. If you're expecting the same old from a horror movie, you're going to be disappointed with this. But like I said, it's hard for me to recommend this, so I'm not going to, but I am going to say that I enjoyed it and leave it at that. So it's my review of Tony, and like always, feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. And thanks again for watching, everybody. Take it easy.